Is free speech too expensive? Is freedom of speech worth all the anxiety it causes? Some would say that the cost is too high in a modern global economy. I disagree. Freedom to express an opinion without fear of being persecuted or prosecuted is a requirement for a civil society. Advocates of free speech point to recent advances in scholarship, science, and social media that have all resulted from the free exchange of ideas. They maintain that in an open market of ideas, the best ideas will win out. Modern technology has made it possible for almost anyone to instantly express their opinion to more people than the most famous writers in history were ever able to do. Not everyone considers this a good thing. Others would argue that an unregulated web is an expensive burden on modern society. Freedom may cost more than freedom of speech contributes. A representative form of government requires freedom of speech. The advent of the Enlightenment and the reemergence of Republican forms of government in the 17th and 16th century promoted greater freedom of speech and a loosening of government's powers of censorship. Freedom does not guarantee happiness, prosperity, or stability, but it does make them possible for more people than tyrants generally do. Speech is the human's unique tech tool for implementing change without relying on brute force. Most of us have a lot more bad ideas than good ideas, but discussing and even vigorously criticizing them will help to identify the good ones. The benefit of free speech as a way towards truth far outweighs any anger, embarrassment, or frustration we may experience getting there. Government and powerful corporations are tempted to bridle those who express obnoxious or even wrong ideas, or even right ideas. Why? Perhaps simply because they can. Some people believe that free speech is only one of many freedoms, and perhaps not the most essential to civilization. What should happen if one man's freedom challenges the cherished political, social, and religious views of others? Throughout history, individuals have been punished for criticizing their rulers or sharing ideas that disturbed others. Many feel a stable political and economic structure is necessary to provide free education, medical care, and nutrition to every citizen. If free speech undermines those programs, they will say it needs to be controlled for some so that others may have freedom from ignorance, disease, and hunger. Granted, lies, distortion, and even the truth can cause disruption. But is economic impact the best measure of value for an idea? An alternate view is that political and economic stability must be given priority over mere individual freedoms. I must disagree. If freedom is to be prioritized, then freedom must come only after life as an essential to humane society. To inhibit speech, the most distinctly human activity, is to reject most of what makes us human. A billion mostly misinformed people echoing one another's bubble online or babble online can pose a challenge to the stable operation of economies and political systems. In this, the alternate view is correct. But what if 1% of that billion is right? Do we dare quash 10 million good ideas or factual reports because the other 7 billion don't make sense. Freedom of speech is worth all the anxiety it causes. The view that it disrupts the system or costs society too much is short-sighted. Freedom always leads to many changes. Change is by its nature destabilizing and disturbing. A representative government must be prepared for both ups and downs. Tyrannies must have order and a smooth path forward to flourish. Republics must take the bumpy road. Whatever the short-term cost, free markets have been the engine of prosperity for many years. Free markets cannot function if we cannot speak freely. So freedom of speech is essential to economy. A character in the novel 1984 says, "If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear. If mobs, corporations, and governments seek to still the voice of others, will they not come for yours?"